It's the end of the college athletics calendar as 8 teams head to Omaha for the College World Series. Hello everyone, I'm Drew Goldfarb, joined by Taylor Smith, and today we're breaking down the 2019 College World Series. Let's go over the favorites first. 3 teams find themselves in the plus 300 to plus 350 range to win the College World Series National Championship this year. Arkansas and Vanderbilt are each at plus 300. Mississippi State plus 350. Taylor, what are your thoughts on these teams and why they're so heavily favored?
So Arkansas, I think, has these odds because they have the easiest road, at least on paper, to the final. They have 2 number 3 regional seeds on their side of the bracket in Florida State and Michigan. Texas Tech, the other team in their bracket, was a 1 seed, but they also had a pretty easy road themselves going through Oklahoma State in the last round. I just think Arkansas, just because of their path, is among the favorites. They're one of the best teams, but that's a factor in the odds. Vanderbilt has a tougher road. They're on the same side of the bracket as Louisville. They finished atop the SEC East, but facing Louisville in the first game of the College World Series is a pretty difficult draw. All 4 teams on bracket 2 are legitimate contenders. Vanderbilt was kind of wobbly in the super regionals against Duke, managed to get through. Mississippi State's really interesting. They're top 10 in the country in on-base percentage and slugging, and they have the 19th best ERA in the nation, so there's really no weakness with that team. So I think all 3 are legitimate contenders, and if you want to bet on any of them, I have no issue with it.
Let's go to each side of the bracket individually now. The College World Series begins with 2 pools of double elimination play, with the winners squaring off in a best-of-3 championship series. In bracket 1, it's Florida State, Michigan, Arkansas, and Texas Tech. Texas Tech plus 800, FSU is plus 1,000, Michigan plus 1,500. We've obviously already gone over Arkansas. Is this pool as clear-cut as the odds would suggest, or do the 3 less favored teams have an opportunity here to unseat Arkansas and punch their ticket to the national championship?
There's definitely potential. Michigan, for example, got past UCLA, which was a heavily favored team that many thought would actually win the national title. And the fact that they got past them is, if they can beat UCLA, they can beat anyone. So Michigan, I think plus 1,500, they have the longest odds, but they do have that huge upset under their belt. So that's a little bit interesting. But like I was saying before, just of the 4 teams in this side of the bracket, Arkansas is pretty clearly above the field. So the value lies with the other 3 teams if you want to take a long shot bet. But, I think the odds are pretty accurate here. So I would just side with Arkansas there at plus 300 to win it all out of that side of the bracket.
Florida State is always a team that gets a lot of hype, and they were one of the last teams to actually qualify for the NCAA tournament this year. Mike Martin's final year, his 40th season as the head coach of the Seminoles, 40 consecutive 40-plus win seasons, while there a number of trips to Omaha, 3 national championship game or series appearances, but no national championships. So we'll see if the Noles might be able to pull an upset and send him out as a winner. As for bracket 2, that features Auburn, Louisville, Mississippi State, and Vanderbilt. Already mentioned Mississippi State and Vandy's odds. Louisville is plus 800, Auburn plus 1,000. A very competitive side of this bracket. How do you see this side playing out?
So we talked about Vanderbilt and Mississippi State. They're 2 heavy favorites for a reason. Louisville is also really interesting. They have really good starting pitching. Their ace, Reed Detmers, and the number 2, Nick Bennett. We've seen a strong starting staff can carry a team all the way in a tournament like this. So plus 800, I think that's pretty decent value. But again, they're facing Vanderbilt right away and then potentially Mississippi State in the next round. Auburn, I think, is a pretty easy bet to pass on. They're pretty lucky to be here in the first place. They scored 13 runs in 1 inning against North Carolina in the decisive game of the Super Regional. And back in the regionals, they managed to get through thanks to a walk-off 3-run homer with 2 strikes and 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning to get past Georgia Tech. And then I think they had a walk-off double the next day to advance to the Supers. So, momentum is something that may be on their side, but I'm not really buying that. So I think Vanderbilt and Mississippi State are the clear-cut favorites over here too.
Diamond Dawgs making their 2nd consecutive trip to Omaha and the 2nd new coach to take them. 2nd time a first-year head coach in a row has taken Mississippi State to Omaha. They, of course, played for the 2013 national championship. Very few of these teams that are there have national championship wins under their belt in this program's history. So speaking of the national championship, which teams do you see playing for the title, and who do you think comes away with the win and pays off on their betting odds? Or is there a long shot that you think might be worth placing that bet on just in case they might be able to pick up that national championship win?
If you're going to bet a long shot, I think it's Louisville. Like I said, I think they have the pitching to do it. But if I'm betting, I think it's going to be Vanderbilt against Arkansas in the final. I know that's lame, picking two teams with the two best odds, but I'm not really here to take risks. I'm here to give hopefully good info, and I think Vanderbilt will win it. They've been pretty much the best team in the nation all season long with UCLA. Since UCLA is not in this at all, I think Vanderbilt ultimately gets it done.
Taylor Smith, thank you very much. You can find more from Taylor online now at gamblingsites.org, as well as more discussions with him right here on the Odds On Favorites YouTube channel. He's Taylor Smith. I'm Drew Goldfarb. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.